Good evening, folks. Joe Baker with your evening pivot report for Friday. I believe it's going to be July 11th already. Wow, summer's half over. Who knew? Anyway, this is for Friday. I'm not really in tune on what's coming out for economic reports or what can move this market upways, down, sideways, who knows. But here's my line in the sand. 1255.50 is the line in the sand. That's that sand colored line. Underneath, actually, let me just put this one in here because I neglected to. Okay, we are going to have a pivot under 1254. So underneath 1255.50, we have 1254. Could get a little sideways chop action between the 1255.50 and the 54 area because those pivots are so tight that could be an area of chop, which basically indecision in the market is what chop is. A break below the 54, I want you to look for the 1250.50 area again. That was kind of a key level last few days, and I think we should get a little bit of a maybe a little bit of a bounce or some chop area around there. A break below there, I'm looking for 1247.50. And a break below there, I'm looking forward to get into the sell zone, which would be a breakdown area. You'll have a small pivot at the 1244.50 area, 1236, and then ultimately the 1233.50 area. A break below that would be extended in case we get these meltdowns, and that would go down to 1229 and 1224. On the upside, we have 1258, we have 1261.75, and that gets into the breakout range. We then have a pivot at 1265.50, 1270.75, 1276 would be the target, and there is a small pivot right above the 76 at 77. Understand why, why would I put that there? Because that's, you got to realize, folks, I'm getting these levels off of monthly support and resistance areas, so they're just coming in, and that's why. I mean, sometimes it's silly, and there's kind of it's a mathematical calculation on how the breakouts work. So two different systems, if you know what I mean. So they come in where they come in. I don't control them. So why do I have a pivot 1 point above the 76? Because it's there. So basically that's where we're coming into. So again, I'm going to recap because I know I'm still, I did some Camtasia tutorials. I'm pretty sure I can enhance the vision on this, so you guys can actually see how see the levels as well, not just hear them. Recap: it is 1255.50. That's my line in the sand for me to be bullish. Above 1255.50, I'm looking for a 1258 area pivot. I'm looking for 1261.75 for the breakout, for the target of 1276, with two pivots in between the breakout at 65 and 70. I'm looking for a bearish tone underneath the 1255.50 at 1254 pivot. We have a 1250.50 area pivot. We have a breakdown range at 1247.50 for a target of 1233.80. Two pivots in that area would be 1244 and 1236. A breakdown beneath the 33 would give us a pivot area of 1229 and one at 1224. Again, we don't know what this market's doing, how much it's absorbing. It is absorbing an enormous amount of bad news with Fannie and Freddie going bust. There's a lot of rumors out there talking about them being insolvent. I'd have to agree with that, though I'm not trying to start a rumor. I'm just very familiar with that industry. They have been insolvent, and I don't think they're fully upfront with what's going on because they kind of are a hybrid, half private, half public, and they don't have to show a lot of their financials. So obviously down where they are now, I mean, Freddie Mac $6, $7, $8, whatever it is, $6 the other day, or earlier today. You know, they're not, you know, they could be washed out, but nobody really knows. So we don't know really. If we don't get any bad news tomorrow, if nothing comes out, we could get some sort of a bounce. You know, we did get a bounce today. They sold it off. However, they did rally it into the end of the day. And I was telling you in last night's video, you know, that shows institutional buying into the end of the day. However, they may have taken it down to buy it into the end of the day just to get a little bit of a buffer into Friday. But you know, going into Fridays, they have been typical sell days. I think they've been sell days for the last 2 months. But we will see what plays out. Just watch these levels and you know, trade safe. I don't know what you fellows all out there using for momentum indicators, but you know, what's been a big heads up in this market is the divergence on these moves. So if you're using MACDs, if you're using stochastics, if you're using CCIs, if you're using anything that's based on momentum, you know, double check those continually and make sure that they're confirming these moves so that you can get a heads up. Because if you know, it's really the only thing that's going to help you when we get up in these higher areas or even these lower areas, you know, for positive divergence or negative divergence on the upside. So, you know, watch those when we come down and test these areas. You know, that's how we trade the pivots, is we're looking for, you know, something to confirm that, yeah, you know, we've got some positive divergence, negative divergence running into these, so they become buy signals. And as you know, once we break above a level, okay, of resistance, now that level becomes support. So you know, I'm just giving you a heads up. A few people have asked, you know, how do I trade the pivots? Well, that's really what we do. The pivots are just that. They're just pivots. And how do we get them? It's just an I don't know, an acquired way of just looking at the market, looking where price was rejected and where the battle really was. So when you come up, you get price rejection, falls back and closes. That typically becomes now a pivot area, and you just go back and chart, and you just kind of stands out at you. So that's how I really find them. It's really kind of just a look at the chart thing and just kind of, you know, see where it was, and then that price rejection area, you know, that's that indecision. So what I'm trying to say is when we come up to a pivot, we typically will fade it a little bit. Not I'm saying taking the trade as a fade. We may do that as well, but the area may fade somewhat, and then, you know, build cause for the next run up through it. And that's usually, so it'll come up to a pivot, it'll kind of fade it back a little bit, the market, and then it builds cause. Now, if it doesn't break down and, you know, the market runs sideways and your momentum indicators are kind of, you know, getting very low and the market hasn't moved much, then you know there's room to move to the upside again to bust through that next pivot area, and then you get to the next area and that kind of fades back, and that's how it kind of rolls. So, you know, the market does, I don't know if you see this cursor, but it would come up, kind of fade this, kind of come back down through here, and then kind of bust up through, kind of fade back again here, and then bust up through again. And sometimes it'll just shoot right through, but other times it'll go sideways at it and then rip it up again. That's how we watch them. Now, if it comes up to here and, you know, there's some serious divergence, you know, negative divergence, then we're going to fade that and we're going to try to, you know, ride it down to the next level. And if it breaks out and goes sideways, now if it's going sideways and our momentum indicators are kind of rising, then we know that we've got room to run it down again, and it'll just fall down. So that's really how you trade them. What I'll do is I'll try to, within the next week, I'll put a video out and I'll try to show you on a live chart exactly how they came up to these areas and how they reacted with the momentum-based indicators on here. And what I'll do is I'll try to get the darn video to be a little crisp and cleaner and sharper so that you can actually see the divergences in the indicators and so forth. All right, guys. I'm going to sign off. It's late where I am. I'm tired, and look forward to having a good day tomorrow. But remember that line in the sand: 1255.50 bullish above, bearish below. Take care.